Informational video about our section of English 3100 because I want to make sure that from the beginning you all have a sense of the major assignments and the way that the major assignments are connected and how they overlap. Because in a lot of ways, you're working on all three of the major assignments for the majority of the semester. So the class might be designed a little differently than other classes you've taken, because I so very much want to focus on revision and long-term inquiry into these topics. So I'm recording this video, but you'll also see that there is a handout below that articulates all of this in writing. So you can look at the diagram that you see here below, as well as kind of my written explanation of how the course works, if you'd prefer to access the information that way. So this is English 3100, and overall this course focuses on literacy, or I think of it as writing about writing. So yeah, this is a writing class. You're going to be writing, and guess what? There's a whole field of research out there about writing and about literacy and about language. And so throughout the semester, you're actually going to be looking at that sort of stuff and learning about the sort of research that occurs about writing, because I believe that that will make you, as a result, a better writer. It doesn't sound very exciting, but I promise that it will be pretty great when everything's said and done. So here's how the assignments work. First, you will see assignment 1, which you'll see up at the top here in the green square, is called a reflection definition essay. And this essay is what you might think of as a personal narrative. It's based on your experiences and your ideas regarding literacy. You don't do any outside research. You could if you wanted to, but it would certainly not be required. It should mainly be based on your life and the things you've learned. You make a first attempt at it that you turn in week 3 to me, and I'll give you a lot of feedback. That's what I consider part 1 of this assignment. Then you're going to revise it, and you're going to think about it more, and you're going to be learning all this great stuff about literacy and writing. So you're going to keep working on it, and you're going to turn it in again for peer review in week 8. And then after you get some great feedback from your peer review group, which you'll learn more about soon, you'll turn it in again during week 15 of the class. So toward the end of the class, you'll turn that back into me, so I can see kind of where you're thinking about your literacy experiences, as well as kind of how you define writing and how you define literacy, how that has taken shape throughout the course. So that's the first one that we start with, but it's also something that you keep working on throughout the semester. Assignment 2 then, we pick up with this one. We'll start it right around week 4 after you kind of do some stuff with this reflection definition essay, and it's called a literacy profile. I would say this is like the number 1 central assignment of the class. This is the one that's heavily researched. It's a traditional academic essay. It requires interviews of people, so what we think of as primary sources. You're going to go out and actually talk to people about their experiences. You're going to have to analyze the interviews that you collect, and you're also going to use do more stuff that you might think of as more traditional research through the library using secondary sources. So this is a big assignment. So we pretty much work on it from week 4 until the very end of the class. And there's some building blocks built into it to help you guys really succeed in it. You turn in an interview summary after you talk to people about their experiences in week 6. And then you go on to do an annotated bibliography, which will let you kind of think about secondary sources that you might connect to the interviews that you did. That's going to be due in week 9. Then you kind of using all the stuff, the work that you've been doing using these building blocks, you write a draft of your literacy profile, which is due in week 11. And you turn that in for peer review. You then turn in a draft to me in week 13, and I give you a ton of feedback, and you use all this feedback then to turn in your final literacy profile during finals week. So very, very end of the course. And the final profile, that's the one that is graded. The draft assignments actually are necessary and help you do the best writing you can do, but you won't get grades on them. So that might sound great to you guys. Assignment 3 then, which is over here, is the literacy exhibit, okay? And you might notice this arrow down here, this visualization between the literacy profile and the exhibit. And the arrow, I've put that there to indicate that the profile and the exhibit are very much related and connected assignments. You actually use the same topic, the same data, and the same research for both of these assignments. So it's kind of funky, but they are actually totally different at the same time because you're composing them for very different audiences and in totally different formats. The profile is an academic essay, traditional kind of research essay, which we'll talk more about what that means. And then the exhibit is something that you are envisioning as a museum exhibit for a public audience. So you've done all this really academic, heavy, in-depth research about literacy and language and learning. And now you're going to craft an exhibit for a more public audience. You're going to use multimedia. We're going to use something called Prezi, which some of you might have used before. You're going to have images, you're going to have audio, you're going to have video. It's going to be really fun and exciting and creative. And you're going to kind of translate your academic work for a public audience for the exhibit. So it's quite different than the profile, but also related to it. So that's sometimes I think what can be a little bit confusing. This comes more towards the end of the course, actually. This is the one thing we kind of work on a bit later in the game. You write a proposal up for what you're going to do in week 11, then you do a draft in week 12 for peer review, and then the final one is due to share with your classmates in week 14. Obviously, for each of these assignments, you're going to be getting an incredibly detailed assignment prompt. In fact, really detailed directions and objectives for what you want to be achieving in these assignments. In fact, the one for the reflection definition essay is already available in the week 1 material, since that's the first assignment we're working on. So you will have no shortage of guidance, and I will be reading your writing in a lot of detail too, and giving you a lot of feedback that will allow you to improve generally as a writer, and then also to achieve better grades on things than you were before. Perhaps if you do start out your profile, for instance, and you're struggling, you're going to get feedback from me that's going to help you do better on it. So my goal here is not only to help your thinking and your writing, but to help you get the best possible grade you can get in the class and help you make a lot of progress in that respect too. So that's an overview of the course. There's 3 major assignments: the reflection and definition essay, the literacy profile, and the literacy exhibit. And 2 of them are very much connected, being the profile and the exhibit. The reflection essay you work on throughout the semester, but that's more about your personal experience and sort of how you come to define literacy and writing based on what you learn in the course. So it's a lot of assignments, and it sounds kind of confusing in the beginning, but you'll have a lot of assistance and a lot of support and a lot of information each and every week in this class to keep you on track. And I do think that the handout below is something that you might want to reference, which kind of writes out all this information. It might be something you want to reference again as you continue to work on this stuff, because this video is probably a little bit long to watch over and over. Anyway, I hope this helps kind of situate you in what we're doing in the course, and I will talk to you guys again soon.